All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the grand finals now. Apologies for having a little bit of a lapse of the casting there. We're actually still getting set up as we have a little bit of a treat for you here at the grand finals. We're going to be a little tight at the desk, but we are going to try to fit in a tridecast. The third caster is joining us here in just a few moments, but for now you've got myself, Blue, as well as Sprawl. Sprawl's the first time you and I have casted together, so...
Happy to do so, happy to do so. And again, we are already live into things. It looks like CLG has picked up the pistol round and the one thereafter. So good start for them, but they are going to go up against rifles in this round as we see a couple Galils, a couple AKs making it onto the field. And Tarek actually going to be aggressively working up towards the washrooms area here with Tarek, but going to get a bit of read on the situation where they want to fall back. So heading back to a passive A-side play.
Now they're moving in here once again. As you said, very, very passive indeed, and they're going to push it forward here in just a few minutes. Moving over, party control being gained by Bolts. Fallen working over there towards Lower Park as well in order to get control of that one. But just again, we'll see the players here on CLG. They're going to hang back. They're taking it nice and steady. Not a lot of that aggressive CT side play we're used to seeing from them, but for the time being here, holding it back as they know they need to be able to hold back or just overall play that passive angle and look for these picks early on against LG. That was what worked for them on Cobble in the first map, and I think they're going to try to utilize it here on Overpass as well.
And with 50 seconds remaining, we are going to see them going to group up towards B here, at least Bolts and his teammate Firm inside of the water area. And looks like with the bomb headed their direction, we got Fallen. He is going to exit from long. He's able to take down Finesse. Fully widescreen, though, as Hazed will be able to take down Fallen thereafter. So 1-for-1 trade. They've got 30 seconds to make something work here, so time is of the essence. Fur does spot Tarek on the flank. Tarek able to find the frag nonetheless, and he gets another one to follow it up. Steel now 1v4, or 1v3, as he will tap away onto JDM. 10 seconds, though, and this is no longer viable for him to go it. Just going to try and get out of there, as if he dies after the time, that would be bad news.
So he's going to be running away now, working his way outside of this one, trying to set himself up for the lead, but he'll be able to get out of there without too much trouble once again, and that's going to be the third round that gets away from CLG. And now they make it out of this one, and we're going to go into that first gun round here. Overall, CLG doing it pretty cleanly in that last round. Of course, they could have made it out with probably one more person to make it super clean, but for the time being, they're not going to have any trouble at all going for their buys, and the T's as well here going into the fourth round. They're actually going to take it a little bit lighter here as they did go for the buy previously. Now going to go for Tech 9's the P250, as well as the AK over here on Steel.
And I do believe we got our third caster all set up here. Buck.
Hello, hello. Can we hear me out there?
Unfortunately, so Buck is here. Buck, his mouth is just glued shut for the moment. So he's just a pretty face as we will hand a microphone over his way. The beautiful Bacchus monster has arrived.
I think we do have audio. Do we have audio?
So now they're going to work their way onto the A site here now. And they're going for it, but so far the hold is pretty strong here. JDM was going to find one peek, and now we're going to see here too. Steel looking for another one, but Tarek with the crab block. He's going to be able to take him out without too much trouble there too. It's dropped down with Fur and Bolts, and Bolts is going to drop in Fur directly after that. So Tarek takes him out, and that's going to be a strong hold there from the CLG players. 4-0 so far, and closing out against LG. 4 rounds in, so still plenty of opportunities for them to swing things back, and this is going to be a great chance to do so now. They're going to get the AKs, they get the op out onto the table here as well, and the Fallen, and Fallen with the big player, even getting the armor, so no glass cannon on it, so hopefully he can work something big at long, and Steel as well.
Blue, what is this?
This is he did this in the last set too, and he played a very close angle with it, so we'll probably see him work over towards construction and try to find a kill with it, and we'll see. And if he even if he only gets one kill with it, it's still going to be a good money bonus here as well.
Oh, for sure.
So we'll see what he can work with this, but a very risky weapon. As soon as you get like more than 5 to 10 units away, it's kind of a useless gun. So you have to be extremely careful with how you play it out.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So, like you were stating, going to play a very close angle here, and a little bit of spam from Hayes. Not going to get a heck of a lot done, as at 83 hit points is Steel. So they're going to play a little bit slow here, as we got Bolts headed towards the middle washrooms area. Fur right behind. Cold with the bomb in his hands, and still with a minute left, they seem to want to set up just from the get-go outside of B as well as middle. And for the CT side, they're not contesting, and this is actually very interesting, is a lot of times we'll see CTs post up and push up, and that's basically the mentality that... Ooh, I just missed Fallen, unfortunately. Get that up shot onto Hayes. I'm sure it was a pretty one. But again, it's the mentality of good, the best defense is a solid offense, and you kind of create lines of defense rather than just playing at that bomb site and waiting for them to show up. So JDM is going to indeed peek towards middle. Currently smoked off is Cold as he's Actually, it's going to be Tark to meet Steel as they do throw this fake towards B, and oh, it is going to pull some players over. JDM goes down in bomb site A.
And now Bolts as well finding the opening shot here to take down JDM. They're going to get site control, get that bomb down. Killer flank on its way in from Finesse, though, and if it goes in here without being spotted, it could be big. However, Bolts shutting it down without any trouble at all. And now that flank has been absolutely destroyed. Cutler trying to sneak up on top of the fence, but that's going to get taken out. And Fallen with 1 and 2. Great shot running up the steps. Going to take out the 2 remaining players, and finally we see a round on the board for the Brazilians.
Yep. As Fallen, he's like, I see your flank, and I will raise you a flank. And Fallen, again, big frags from him. Will create the first round here for the T side, but obviously, the common situation. Got to string them together as you can see their monetary situation. Cold on 3,000, 2 players on around 2,000, but that's not really a comfortable spot for them as this round, again, Tark and JDM, they will be posted up. And I think that what I'm missing is there actually is a basic timing that they're going for that they'll actually pull back at some point here. And here it is. So around 120 or so, they feel like they're not as safe. And I think that's the timing when they can be posted up towards that long bathrooms. So indeed, they will fall back. Now, Fallen and Co, they have worked their way up towards that bathrooms area. And Fur in middle. And they're just going to take it nice and slow once again here. Steel is actually just posted up, making sure that no one flanks all the way from T-spawn. And again, just 2 tag teams towards middle A and long A as well.
And again, the timer running lower and lower here now, but so far not a lot of action having happened yet with the exception of that damage going on to Cold earlier in the round. Now the push is going to come over here towards long A. Tarek is going to be the first person to find a little bit of it, but still holding patient over here by the police fences, and now we see that push. So far, that smoke still holding it back, but the pop flash comes out. Hayes finding 2 there. He's going to pull the bathroom push, and Tarek running right past it, right into Fallen's face as he gets the no-scope, I believe. That's going to take him down. JDM does get a response to take back down on further, and Hayes finding another one as well. He'll drop Fallen. Now it's all on Steel, and again, this push has been brought down way too low on the timer end of things, and it's going to be Hayes that chased down the final frag and closes it out once more for CLG. They maintain a strong lead at this point, up 4 against the players on the Brazilian team here, and the big problem now is going to be the fact that they had that losing bonus going for the 4 rounds, but now it's once again going to be reset here, so they can buy if they want to, but with a couple players sitting below $2,000, and in the case of Bolts only at 1.5k, they really can't afford to go for much here, so they're going to be forced to save. And that, of course, is going to give this round more than likely over to CLG unless you see some big issues and some big clutch plays at the hands of LG.
Yeah, and I feel like they would have forced buy if there was more damage done in that last round, but instead they kept 4 alive. They know the economic situation is pretty darn good. Finesse going to line them up towards long, and Cold actually gets that 1 deg off onto Cutler before he goes down, so a little bit of damage. But obviously, if you're only getting 1 kill, that actually still is their economy going up. You want to at least get 2, and 3 obviously is best case scenario in a lot of regards. But AK's back in their hands in round 8.
And now we'll see where the push comes out here now that they got the guns in hands again. Bolt's still a little bit low and is going for the Tech 9, but for the time being, that shouldn't mount too much of an issue here, as the Tech 9 could still be a very imposing weapon. Smoke's already coming off onto B, and not a lot of rotation coming off, but they've already got the standard 3 players here from the CT side position onto that. The nade's coming out there as well. A little bit connects, but Steel moving through Monster. He's going to find the opening headshot, takes out Finesse with that one, and going to try to fall back, but his teammate says, no, man, we're going into this site, so they're going to push for this one, and they're going to go for control very quickly. And you can see here, too, CLG, they know they've got a lot of time. They're using the smokes. They've actually held it off a bit, but can't hold the site forever, so there is going to be a plant that comes off, but they're going to take their time on it here. Tarek already running completely around, is going for the big flank. Not really going to be able to catch anything off the bat with it here, but now if he can line up the shot, he can take down Steel. He's fired the shot, not actually going to find it. Now Fallen picking up another kill here too, so Tarek's been revealed. I'm not actually sure if Steel has completely realized where this push is coming from, but there's more players coming back over under tracks right now, so they should be able to counter it out, and overall the retake attempt from CLG did not end up going too far, so now that it's JDM and Tarek left alive, Tarek of course picking up a nice nade kill back over on the Steel. They are going to look for the save at this point and try to find any additional exits they can grab.
Yeah, recognizing that their monetary situation, it's all right, but saving these weapons, not a bad idea. Fur, nice angle to hold as JDM will lose his AWP. So the save situation not working out exactly as planned, but we did see Tarek with that nade and smoke play. He took down another player, and just recognizing that playing exits instead of falling into their hands, you are going to be able to, hopefully, and if they are going to win the round, they've lost a lot of players doing so, and they have to buy a ton in the next. So a little bit fortunate, though, taking down JDM means that that op comes into play, and it's actually going to be Cold hanging on to it here.
And now we see here, waiting for the push to come out. Fur is going to move up here, moving over into the construction now through water. Up in there, it's going to be Bolts that takes the charge. Flashes and nades coming out there, just doing a little bit of damage to the CLG players, but nothing huge at this point. Cutler hanging back, and he's going to push forward now, trying to get that spray on the Steel, but won't be finding it. Hayes, however, making the big play. He's going to move out. He finds Cold. Unfortunately, gets traded out by Steel almost immediately after that, so stuck in a 4-on-4. And again, a great smoke setup coming out at the hands of the T side here on Luminosity Gaming. Not really letting CLG do too much here in an attempt to get themselves back onto the site to defuse it. So much time already passing by and such little progress already taking, but they move as a group, they move as a unit, and it's working out great because now they're going to push in, and these smokes now work against the T's as they try to find that spray. That defuse is coming out here, getting very low on time, however, and to be honest, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it happen. They're forced to go for it, but Bird coming in, he gets the kill through the smoke, a second one as well. JDM's going to chase it, he gets that frag, but it doesn't matter, as somehow their LG were able to hold that site despite being completely pushed off by CLG. They found, I think they killed the diffuser 2 times in a row there through the smoke, and were able to close out the round with that. Very well played by the players here on Luminosity.
Yeah, the fact that they're able to get the bomb down with still multiple players inside of B. Like, these smoke strats are actually working out in a way that they get in, get the bomb down, and then they play, for example, there's a boost in construction that they're doing that's going and looking into the site. You get a nice angle onto heaven and that kind of thing. They're playing it really well in that they're like, okay, you can have your side, we'll have ours. The bomb's planted on ours, so you got to come eventually, and that's when we will deal the damage. So now we will see Luminosity breaking the economy of the CT side.
And the money management actually isn't looking like the worst thing in the world. They were still able to go for the full buy on the previous round there, and now heading into this one, they actually still had a decent chunk of change left in the bank after they decided to go for the eco, so this is only going to be a single save for them. They can just resume the buys in the next round. So surprisingly here, despite what we're used to from CLG and what we saw back over on Cash in the last set, they've actually decided to take this one, as I already mentioned before, as much more of a sort of passive CT side strat. Post plants are a little bit of a different scenario, but for the most part here, they try to play and they try to keep as many people alive as possible, and that's allowed them to have a much stronger economy, and will let them get back into this game much quicker here in the situations where we see LGs taking multiple round chains in a row, as we have going now, as they've taken these 2 in a row.
Bolt's gonna get aggressive up middle. He doesn't have any teammates with him, so no real trade potential, but I don't think he's scared. As again, not a lot of weaponry on that CT side. Steal over towards B. Does drop Hazed, and that will cue the rotate, but JDM actually coming in from behind. Bolt's able to capitalize on a frag in the spawn itself. JDM with another one, but with 4 hit points. I have a hard time believing he's going to be able to get anything else done other than save this weapon. But to be honest with you, like you were saying, probably just the single save, as they have had pretty good money management. So saving this into the next round, okay, very formidable. I'm sure there's one of the CLG members which would love to have that fall into their lap for the next round. And look at JDM, just going to be playing all sneaky beaky like, go towards the underpass. I'm worried that he's getting a little too close to the bomb, though. Without any armor here, is he gonna...
No,
JDM, you're not going to live. You're just straight up not going to live in this position. I'm actually a little bit confused why he decided to go for... Okay, so he pushes close to the bomb site, expecting them not to see him close to the bomb site, and then sprints as soon as he thinks the bomb's going to go off. It's a cute idea.
You and I had the same thought pattern there. I do believe he, at least for a moment there, wanted to push it and try to get the ninja defuse. Had he done it like maybe 3 seconds earlier, he might have been able to pull it off, but I think he came to the hard realization there far too late that his HP was too low.
Oh, I don't have a kid either.
He didn't want to
Shoot.
He didn't want to retrace his steps because there was probably going to be a much higher chance that opponent was going to be there. So he tried to take a different path up top of the connector stairs and work his way into the park. And unfortunately, he ran right into 2 players from LG, so that doesn't end up working out too well. And another big problem for this round is that LG are moving at a single unit here through long A, and there's literally nobody from CLG looking at challenges. So if they keep quiet all the way up there, they might just storm onto that A site without even being noticed.
And we'll see Cutler. He's going for a bit of a junk peek, but if timed improperly, they might be able to get up here. That is indeed the case, as they are going for the boost, and it allows them to actually take this close lane rather than having to peek out wide. But nonetheless, like you stated, Cutler still knows exactly what's going on, and they are going to push over towards the A bomb site. Cutler going to be, again, the first line of defense, but Mr. Consistency not able to get anything done. JDM inside of middle will be able to get one. But Cold is still lurking in the washrooms. JDM with another one. When is Cold going to come into the situation? Does chime in, but finesse from behind. It will be a 2-on-3.
And the Molly coming out there, trying to force the repositions and really just trying to scatter the hens at this point to hopefully line up a better shot for Steel. As Steel's going to have to be the one that has to make a big place here. Bolt's going to have to sit back and hide in the corners. He's only 23 HP, but Tarek's going to move in. He picks up the headshot there on one of his teammates. Bolts will find one, but that's all they're going to get here. Plenty of time left on the clock to get the defuse, even if it's the full 10 seconds. And we are going to see once again CLG after 3 rounds gained here by the players on LG. CLG will retake control of the situation. They're picking up a 7th for themselves and slowly reaching themselves further and further into the lead as they maintain this solid plus 3-point advantage against the Brazilian team.
And at the moment, again, Overpass honestly, it came into the map pool as a pretty CT-sided affair. Now, maybe a little bit more even, maybe like a 9-6, even 8-7 at times, but yeah, 9-6 is usually what we're seeing on a map like this. So, around 12, Luminosity, not going to be too worried. They do go for a bit of a force buy in that they've got Galil's going to go with the utility instead, as they're going to try and make that work. Hazed will push up on Cat, and well, they will find one for their effort. Finesse going to clean up here as Tar coming down the stairwell, and again, that pinch onto short, super effective, as at least initially the frag's not going their way, but the team play as they work together. Now, once again, we have a 2-on-3.
And Finesse picking up yet another one here. The retake should go pretty solidly. However, Steel's one of these players low. Tarek will see the one as that. But he moves in. Steel's actually going to take down Finesse. JDM has to connect this shot here because Tarek is far too overexposed. There's a lot of damage to him, and Tarek's going to move in to try and close it out. He's cornered here, and again, they're going to go with dual angles. So really good teamwork coming out from those guys. And once more, they should have just enough time to get this defusal off. So CLG still strong. Big heavy losses coming in, so it is going to hurt the economy, or at the very least sort of freeze it in its current position. But for the terrorists again here, getting this late into the half, it's not really about the economy damage at this point, because it's going to be a mute point in about 2 rounds here. It's more about picking up those rounds and trying to make this as close as possible, because you don't want to let the CTs get to a point where they can take a 9-6 or a 10-5, because then that's default or even advantageous to what we're normally used to in a high-tier game for this sort of map. So you don't want to let the CTs get the high up. The more rounds you can rack up here on the T side, the better. And especially so far with what we've had between these two teams in the earlier set, I think that they want to try to get as big of an advantage here on the advantage side, just because things get pretty crazy when they switch sides based on what we saw in our first set between these two.
And Hayes will be able to take down Steel. Another force buy coming out of the Brazilians here. Cold, wow, what a shot from him as he gets 2 for himself. And actually, they're going to work a boost. Not going to be... Actually, I think they did do a good amount of damage. Tarek and JDM now rotating on over. And Fallen takes down Hayes. All of a sudden, this is looking like a really strong round here for the Luminosity crew as JDM. They try and work a boost, and he does indeed do that. He misses the shot, though, and that would have been critical for them to get back in, but all is not done yet, as looks like Fur is going to head up towards short. They're not confident actually breaching on to the site further before he actually comes up from another angle, or so it seems, and honestly, not a bad play. 40 seconds left on the clock, and ooh, this is actually pretty interesting. The fact that they haven't moved at all, but the amount of time that's gone by, Tarek and JDM are convinced that it could actually be a rotate.
And now we are going... Apologies. Now we're going to see here the push coming out from the players on Luminosity, working their way up to the site here to try and get control. And they should be able to get it pretty easily, as you mentioned before here. This should be another round that goes the way of LG pretty easily. JDM and Tarek moving out at this point, looking to go for the save, and yeah, not really too much they can do here without any way to get back into the site. JDM still had plenty of nades to work with, but it was going to be a very high-risk situation considering Tarek had already been dropped down to 5 HP. Just not super worth it in that kind of a situation, so they just decided to fall back, move away from this one, and they're going to hand over that 5th point now to the terrorist side here as they try to make that comeback happen. They try to make it as close as possible, potentially line it up for a 7 to 8 half as we approach that 15th round here. But looking at the money here now, after the round is going to close out, it's probably actually going to look like, because again, now that losing bonus will get reset, or the money bonus, I should say, is going to completely reset for the CLG side. Not really going to have nearly enough, so this save for this rifle, along with that op, is actually going to be a really good choice, because not only are they going to be able to equal out here, but JDM is going to be able to toss out 2 rifles to teammates, which should arm pretty much everybody except Hazed up.
Yeah, good news for them, as we'll see what this kind of mid-aggression works out to be, as Tarek going to head with Finesse down the stairwell. For will be quick to the situation. Tarek gets the first one, though. Steel looking to trade, won't be able to do so. So early frags here yet again, and Tarek from below, working a headshot angle. Excellent work from him, as he's going to whiff a little bit near the end, but again was fairly effective in that spot. They've dropped the bomb inside of that underpass area. Fallen going to try and get rid of Finesse so they can collect the bomb here, but looks like we're actually going to see CLG fall off a little bit, and that's not a terrible idea, as if they stay put, the T's have a good read on their positioning, but instead Hayes kind of looking back towards T-spawn, and he will catch one off guard.
Cold now as well moving out here. He's got the bomb, but I think it's going to be fairly predictable, his movement pattern here. You could even see there too that Cutler is working through Park to try and find him, but he's going to be a little bit unnecessary, as obviously JDM on the site handles that pretty beautifully. He's going to take out the final player, knock him out, and again, you can see CLG handling the CT side very nicely, now taking a big advantage, and even if we see the terrorists steal this round away, this is still overall a pretty good half, and generally what we expect for a CT side on Overpass. Now it's going to be about building it back up over on the T side, and those were some of the problems we saw, I would say, back over in our first 2 maps in our first set there. It's definitely going to be something that, again, we haven't seen him perform since that set, but hopefully at least here on Overpass it's going to be a little bit better for them, and they can pull out enough rounds to close it out and get them the first point in this matchup.
And a number of frags going the way of Luminosity as they've graded a 2-on-4. Frags in middle as Tarek JDM went down, and now it's Hayes and Finesse. Finesse going to be the quick rotate in. Hayes still way over towards B, and actually provides a flashbang for his teammate. I think that actually worked a little bit against Finesse, I'm not going to lie, as did receive a bit of it, but really good bomb plant position here. This is a really bleak situation for the CT side, and CLG is they are just going to smoke it, and Finesse can actually hold this off. There's 2 seconds left here, and that's going to be it. The last round will go the ninja play. Hazed comes up big.
Not even Hayes, but
I can't believe that worked out that way. One player, the distraction. It's like, hey, look at me, and then he jumps into the smoke, and with the kit, honestly, 5 seconds is on. It's actually not that much time to find the spray down to the smoke, and Hayes makes it work.
I mean, you pointed out there how well of a side take that was for the terrorists there in the last round from LG, and it was great. But for some reason, they just completely, like, obviously their players were a little bit low, but for even those that were high, they just completely gave up on trying to hold the site. They gave it. It was a 2-on-4. You would have had angle advantage no matter where you were sitting for the most part. As you probably would have countered out. For some reason, I think they thought that there was going to be a big push, and there was reason to believe that too, with how much Tarek was going for these big long rotations on retakes. But for some reason, they thought that both these players were going to try to retake from connectors. I think they rotated in bathroom and tried to counter that, but it ended up working out horribly for them, as they still had their smokes on site, and the CLG players just used that to defuse. In addition to Finesse pushing forward and holding them off for the necessary time that was needed in order to give them the time for that defuse, the smoke just pretty much killed them there. So a huge play off of the hands of CLG, and they'll now take a big advantage here heading into our second half, and it's getting started now. So Hayes once again starting us off very well. Cole does get a response. Steel finding another one here too. So that's going to bring it down into even terms in a 3-on-3, as the plant will come out in just a few moments. And actually Finesse picking up another one from Semi there, and now as well eliminating it pretty quickly there. The final 3 being picked up, and that's going to be the pistol round here for CLG, potentially setting it up to 13-5, and that's going to be a huge comeback that LG will have to make here in this half.
Yeah, and that was a massive round from Hayes specifically. 4 frags from him, and honestly, I remember casting these guys first and foremost back when I first started casting when they were mouse pads, and I was so impressed by Hazed and his 1 Deags. And although that wasn't with the Deagle there, he's just putting his pistol play on display. And again, what better round than to get a 4K in the pistol, as that will be a critical advantage. If Luminosity picks that up, that could be their way to the comeback. That being said, honestly, these Brazilian teams are pretty darn good at converting these second rounds after the fact, so I'm not counting LG out of this completely, as Fur is going to be posted up in washrooms. They are going to be pushing up towards Long A, and they've actually ignored the washrooms area, and Hold actually in the stairwell. He will get one. Fur tapping away, takes down JDM. So again, this is actually a player advantage. Tries to go for a weapon there as Fur, and Hazed will bring things back. So 2 on 3 as they enter A.
And the positioning here from the remaining Luminosity game members not going to be the best. In fact, Steel was trying to get a little bit cheeky there, now in a rather unnecessary or rather unorthodox spot, but it doesn't pan out too well. So Bolts, he's going to sneak his way up here, try to jump up on top of Green possibly and look for any kills, but they're already looking at him. They know exactly where he's pushing in from, or they should, as soon as he peeks his little head out there, and they've already got that good feeling. So here he comes, Overexposed is now looking for the shots, not going to be able to find anything, and they connect a little bit of damage on him, so he's falling back now. Out comes that flash. It's in a great spot, but everybody else was behind cover, so they're going to pull out, and Finesse will close things out once more here. And just again, to open up a conversation point here, let's talk a little bit about Hayes, because, I mean, not just so far in this map, but overall in this tournament, Hayes has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job as one of the top fraggers for CLG. He's been pulling off these crazy rounds back-to-back, and I just really want to give some props to him for that.
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing a great job.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I did see him take to Twitter after he got a specific ace.
I noticed that as well. He did.
Yep.
He pulled off.
I did it.
He did the Alamo hold on ace site back on the cash map there too. So finally he was able to get it without it getting stolen by a teammate, and it was all at the hands of him. That a lot of that last LG set actually went into his team's favor. So there's a lot to thank on his shoulders, and potentially might make it the same here at the grand finals as well. And just as a reminder here too of the format, in case anybody is curious on that one, For those of you that are participating in the lounge bet for this one, I believe you are already aware, but this is going to be a double best-of-3 set, and that's somewhat of an uncommon format for esports tournaments. So how that's going to work is because CLG made it in from the upper bracket finals, all they have to do is win one of these 2 potential best-of-3 sets. If they win this set here, then the event is over, and they're going to go home with the first prize, 10K. But if LG actually swing through and win this set here, then we'll reset the score back down to 0-0 and play another best-of-3 set, and the winner of that one will be our overall champion for this event.
And like you said, there could be a lot of Counter-Strike is what Blue's getting at here.
It could be a late night for us, basically.
That is certainly the truth, as going to take into B. They do get one frag for themselves, but firing right back. Fallen actually working a nice boost towards Sandbags here, but Steel just killed Fallen. So
Aces Wealth is pushing through smoke. I got this last kill. Easy, man, easy.
that was quite interesting. 13-5 here as the T side. CLG looking to close things out. They get pistol in the 2 rounds thereafter. Now, Luminosity, they don't want this kind of scoreline out of this map. Obviously, they want to win the map, but there is some damage control aspect as well. You want confidence moving into that next one, and right now, if they end at 16-5, not exactly the great feeling they're looking for. That being said, going back to the last set, seeing how one-sided back and forth, and honestly, we've seen some crazy Counter-Strike that I could never have predicted, but we are going to see a B-side play here as Cole does take down Cutler, first and foremost, but it looks like they will get the bomb set.
So they're going to move on there. They get the plant down, and again, not a whole lot of conflict in getting it down here either. And great job on the hold from Tarek. He's already found 2 frags for himself here, too. Smoke should hold back the rest of the retake potential for now, but oh my goodness, that flip there from Fur was off the angle, but managed to adjust the spray and take down Tarek anyway, so they're going to finish him off. Even terms for now, but the time is ticking away. The players need to push forward, but they're having trouble moving up. Fallen, though, with the forward up shot, takes down Finesse, and Hayes still over there by the pole. He's going to find another one. Fallen was able to take down Hayes, but the time has gotten too low, so Fallen, he's going to give up on this one. He doesn't want to try to contest JDM, and they're going to hand this round over. 14 points onto the board now for CLG. Just 2 more away from closing out the first map, and with a heavy advantage in their favor as well, if it continues on its current trend.
Yeah, certainly is. Fallen does make it out, so he's got that up in hand, but look at the CT side economy. Honestly, if they go for a buy here, it's not going to be a pretty one. But a lot of teams do not save for ties. That's just not something that really happens in Counter-Strike Go. If you hear Mean Lasercast, again, he's from previous iterations. It used to be a lot more popular, but now pistols and other weapons so viable, might as well go for the Force.
Yeah, and to be completely honest here, honestly, at this point, I don't really think LG is too super focused on playing for this tying this map up here at this point, because there's just been so many things that have gone wrong. It's going to be much better to sort of just let this one pass as it should, and then focus up for the next map there too. Try to tie things up at 1-1 and reset the scoreline. Focus it on taking not only that second map but that third map as well, because then they can use that to reset it, bring it back down to 0-0, and then win that second set as well to bring home the top prize for Brazil.
Yeah, as 15-5, one away from closing out map number 1 here, as it's been a dominant one. CLG looking primed to take the WinOut 20K tournament here in Philadelphia, but the Brazilians not done and over with this yet, as we'll see what CLG has in store for us. Finesse heading towards B to start things off. Some aggression here from Fallen and Co, as Steel will be right behind him. They take control of short, and that will give them plenty of information that I want at least towards B to start things off. At CLG towards long, actually, and middle. And if we look at the setup here from the CT side, they're actually not interested in contesting in middle itself. And again, that was something that CLG, they would kind of pull back after the start of the round, as it just didn't feel as safe. And again, that's one of the cool things about this map, is you set up lines of defense, and I feel like that's something that isn't as popular in other maps just purely by design.
So now we see here too the push that will come out from the terrorist side of things. They're going to get Color up on top of Flower Box. He's looking for that jump peek over there behind the van, but actually won't be able to see it too clearly from there. Curious to see if Cold has spotted this or not. There's no reason that he shouldn't, but he's not really keeping his eyes up there. And again, teammates really haven't been alerted to this. However, they've gone on their own scouting mission, and they can see that there's absolutely no progress being made here. And this great aggressive push actually coming out here from LG is going to net them 2 early frags. CLG was not ready for this one all, but now they've left the site somewhat undefended. And the number 7 man over here, that's going to be Fallen, has to try to reposition, and he's actually going to do a great job of doing so. But now Cutler as well coming out. He's going to find 2, looking for the 3rd there, but Fallen, of course, denying him of that. Finally, we see the players here on Luminosity Gaming picking up a round in this second half. But at what cost, of course, 15-6. Still 9 rounds behind the terrorist side here, and so much more work to do. But they did have a decent economy stacked up here, and they are going to be able to go for another rebuy here over on the terrorist side, that is, after winning so many rounds in a row, and so many successfully won rounds in a row, too, with minimal losses. So their money's still looking to be in a pretty good situation. They're going to go for the rebuy, and JDM now with the op over here as well. We haven't seen too much of him using that on the T side just as of yet, so hopefully he can make the work that is needed to pick up that 16th round and close out this first map here in the American team's favor.
Yeah, as they're going to slowly work towards Fountain. Long aggression as well. Finesse interested in possibly going towards Underpass. But again, we see that pushed up play from Steel and Fallen. And it's honestly so much information when they're not seeing anybody here. And that's hence why we can see 3 players towards A. And again, they've got a really good read on the situation if they do come towards Squeaky Door. Obviously, they're going to be the first line of defense on the other side. But they will eventually fall back after Steel is pushed way up. And again, every step he takes, more information, especially with time dwindling away here. He is going to have a read that they should be taking onto A. So, Finesse will be able to drop a molly onto the site itself. Cold is fully flashbanged, actually. So, not a fun situation as they are going to smoke and try and get the bomb set here. And very popular way to take in. JDM will take down Steel. So the bomb plant, now it is up to LG members. Keeping this map 1 dream alive. Requirement is the defusal to find that 7th round, but CLG with an excellent setup here. Finesse will be the first player to get peaky. And again, still every player left up, and they are dropping, trying to contest. And again, the bomb plant positioning, excellent. CLG with plenty of players left up to deal with that. And 16-6, that will be map number 1.
And that was the exact same situation that we saw on the last round of the first half there, too, except the fact, as you mentioned, that the plant positioning of the bomb was far better so that they couldn't actually try to sneak it from within the smoke there. That was the big problem, was that we saw the positioning there from LG. It was all great, but they gave way too much room for the CTs to retake, and they left a smoke right over the bomb, too. So it was very hard to find out where exactly that last player was going to be positioned at, and that's why we saw that last round loss. But overall, in the second half there, kind of a run over from CLG as they just took so many rounds on their T side, and only 1 picked up from LG. So another very dominating map here between these two teams, and that's going to be a great bolster here for the first set. CLG, again, does have the advantage, so they're actually on tournament point right now. If they take the next map, then that's going to be it. They're walking in with the 10K. If LG can take it, though, that'll tie things up at 1-1, and that'll be on the technically reset and or tournament point. And if LG do take the 3rd map, we'll go back into the 2nd set. But if CLG can take that one as well, we'll still be ending the tournament right there. However, folks, we are going to be taking a short break here for a few moments while we let our teams load into the 2nd map and take a short break. As soon as they're good to go, we'll be right back at you. And I can tell you for certain, it's probably going to be very quick, so don't go anywhere. And we'll be back with the 2nd map here at the Grand Finals of the WinOut 20K LAN, live from Philadelphia and on a Zulu.
Hey, what